Kotak belakang okey tak? Nampak tak? Okey tak okey? Kalau hi, can we, or we can like after this start we can come in closer, put it closer. Kat depan tu. Boleh juga. Boleh juga.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And I feel a very good evening to all of you guys and to Stephanie, and also to welcome to all our brothers and sisters for this wonderful talk for this evening. So before I continue with the talk itself, I would like to welcome Brother Ahmed Hashimi to the debate.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم ربنا اشرح لنا صدورنا ويسر لنا أمورنا واحلل عقدة من ألسنتنا يفقهوا أقوالنا اللهم ارحمنا بالقرآن واجعله لنا إماما ونورا وهدى ورحمة اللهم ذكرنا منه ما نسينا وعلمنا منه ما جهلنا وارزقنا تلاوته آناء الليل وأطراف النهار واجعله لنا حجة عليك حجة لنا ولا حجة علينا يا رب العالمين اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا تأويل ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you, Brother Amir, for the praise. And I'm just pretty much going to read out the biography of Brother Fazil. You can clarify what it's true or not. I just switched to it. Yeah. So Brother Fahim is actually a software manager, software QA manager by profession. Brother Fazil has spent a decade learning with top Islamic scholars in the United States and Syria as well, specializing in Quranic, Arabic, and studying key Islamic disciplines such as Aqidah, Tafsir, Fiqh, Usul, Al-Fiqh, Tajweed, Logic, and others. Brother Fahim has lectured in Arabic and Islamic studies throughout the United States and also in Syria as well. He is the author of the widely acclaimed multi-level Intro to Quranic Linguistics series that has been taught throughout the USA, UK, and also the Middle East. So that's just pretty much the autobiography of Brother Fahim. And without further ado, I don't want to waste your time. I welcome him himself. Thank you. Yeah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fahim Qazi. It's a pleasure to be here at Malaysian Student Islamic Association, and it's really nice to see mashallah, all of you guys are dedicated on a Saturday afternoon, coming and taking the time, taking your religion very seriously. This is a presentation that discusses what our great scholars of Aqidah and Sharia and Usul call the six universals. Six universals. Every rule in fiqh or Sharia is there for one of these six reasons, to protect one of these six things. And those six things are right here. So my whole lecture today is going to be about these six things. And again, this is not my research. This is basically what I studied when I was in Syria. I spent, alhamdulillah, more than 10 years in Syria, specializing in Arabic of the Quran and Aqidah and Islamic studies in general. I myself was born in Pakistan, and when I was in high school, my family moved to California. So I finished my high school in California. Then I did my college. I went to University of California in Santa Cruz, the biggest party town in California, right on the beach. And when I came to this campus, it reminded me of the college days, how crazy they were. And so I studied computer science and engineering, and then I moved into professional IT, information technology industry in California. I worked as a software test engineer for 5 years. And then after September 11th events, I was in a situation where I had been planning to go overseas to study. So I left my job, left my house, went to Syria, to a place where I don't understand the language or the culture. I had studied some Arabic, but I was born in Pakistan. And so I said, no, I'm going to go, and I'm going to go. And I've been saving money for years. I decided to go. And everybody told me, you're crazy, don't go. You're going to get stuck. You're wasting your time. Why are you throwing away your nice job and everything? I said, no, I have to go, I have to go. And this was after spending 15 years in the United States. So in early 2002, I left. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I know I had to go. And I left, and I decided to study there for a few years and maybe go somewhere else like Yemen to study more spirituality. I wanted to be in a spiritual environment, enough technology and infrastructure. I wanted to be in a spiritual, quiet environment. But that didn't happen. After I went to Syria, I got a job to support myself and my family, teaching SAT and GRE math, and teaching English as a second language, TOEFL. Most of you probably know about the TOEFL exam. So I was teaching these courses in the evenings, and in the mornings I was studying. So I said, okay, maybe I'll study a few years and then hop over to some spiritual environment in Yemen. And but that never happened. After I studied a few years, I said, okay, I can do some more. And I studied a few years, I kept staying there. And it turned out to be 10 years, alhamdulillah. The best 10 years of my life, hands down. And I met my beautiful wife there. She's right there, Asma. She's Syrian. And I got married to her over there. Alhamdulillah, we spent 10 years there. And after the civil war broke out in Syria, it became impossible to live there. And so I decided to come back. I didn't want to come back, but I ended up coming back. And so I came back. I retrained in IT, which was very difficult. And I started looking for jobs. And I found a job. I was in California with my family, my brother, sister, mom, dad, they're all there. And I found a job here in Nashville area 3.5 years ago. So that's how I ended up moving to Nashville. That's my little journey. So let's talk about the 6 universals, al-kulliyat as-sit. And this is something I studied when I was in Syria. And when I studied, I was like, wow, this is cool stuff. I wish more Muslims knew about it. So I wrote a khutbah, and this PDF that you see here is really for the Jumu'ah khutbah that I prepared, and I delivered this Jumu'ah khutbah at Islamic Center of Nashville. And sometimes I get invited to give khutbahs. And unfortunately, I didn't have time to turn this into nice PowerPoints, so bear with me. Inshallah, it should be readable, should be very clear. So what are the 6 things for which most, if not all, rules in Sharia or fiqh or Islamic law or sacred law are there for? The scholars say that everything there is to protect religion or deen. How many of you are able to read the Arabic? Raise your hand if you're able to read the Arabic. Okay, that's great, mashallah. Malaysians are good Muslims. Malaysia, I always wanted to go to Malaysia. Malaysia is a country that I always wanted to visit, but I've never seen. I've seen Singapore, so it should be Malaysia. Because I was on my way from California to Pakistan, and the plane stopped, and we changed, and they gave us a trip of Singapore, and that's the only thing I've seen. So anyway, religion, deen, right? We know what is deen. Deen is religion. So there's a lot of rules in Sharia or fiqh that are there to protect religion. The second one is nafs, or life. Protection of life is high priority in Sharia. Very serious punishment for people who commit murder or terrorism beyond question, and even accidentally killing there are serious consequences in Sharia. So number one, religion. Number two, life, protection of life. Number three, protection of wealth and property. That's why stealing is prohibited, and there's severe punishment for stealing, as you know from the Quran. And also, to protect property, there are rules in Islamic business law. How do you do business? What is halal and haram in business? Riba or interest or usury is also prohibited. And we'll talk about all of these things in the rest of the lecture, inshallah. That's my plan to finish this in less than an hour, inshallah. Number four is lineage, nasab. Lineage is, you should know, everybody has the right to know who their father is. And to protect that, no fornication, no adultery, no sex outside of marriage. And we have a lot of rules in Islam, right? To protect mixing, premixing, and to protect any immoral interaction between a man and a woman. It's there to protect lineage. And then, number five, al-aql, the intellect, aql, is important. To protect the aql, drugs and alcohol and any psychological torture and anything that harms the intellect is prohibited. And aql is a gift from Allah. And we're going to look at the definition of aql in just a few minutes. And number six is good reputation or good repute or honor, backbiting, slandering, saying bad things behind people's backs are prohibited. And then there are a lot of rules out there. So let's now get into the details, inshallah. So religion, what is religion? Religion is ma shara'a Allahu li'ibadihi min al-ahkam. It is that which Allah has legislated from the rules for His ibad. Ibad are worshippers of Allah. And to protect the religion, we cannot protect something that we are ignorant of. We have to study, learn, and for that there's a lot of encouragement in the Quran and Hadith. طلب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم. Seeking knowledge is farida, wajib, required, obligatory on every Muslim. And then once you learn it, then you can see if you want to teach it. So that's another way, best way to protect religion is to teach it. And Allah, Rasulullah says in this hadith, both of these are hadith, خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَهُ. Best of you are those who studied the Quran, learned the Quran, تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَهُ, and taught it. And then you have da'wah or exhortation or calling people to Allah. And then you study, not just Islam, but you study Christianity, Hinduism, Judaism, Buddhism, Jainism, Taoism, Shintoism, any isms, other religions. You study them, if of course you've done all your study and you got your basics, to figure out what's wrong with them, so that Muslims don't fall into the trap of following those false religions. Of course, we are Muslims, and of course we believe Islam is the true religion and every other religion is false. And protecting Islam from corruption, kufr, which is point number 5. To protect Islam from corruption, meaning that there are people out there, that are Muslims in this day and age, who want to change Islam. Be very careful of those people who want to change Islam. Because Allah said in the Quran, Al-Yawma akmaltu lakum deenakum. I have perfected your religion. So don't change Islam, change yourself. If you don't like something in Islam, that means you need to change. Don't change Islam. So we need to protect Islam. These are their rules in Sharia to protect Islam from kufr and things like that. So that's at the individual level, right? And something that you and I can do, right? We can study, we can help others learn, and we can do whatever we can. At the community level, how do we protect at the community level? That's not for you and me. That's for the government. The government can implement, not us. The government can make laws that protect Muslims and protect their interests. And similarly, the scholars say that there's no anarchy and chaos and vigilantism in Islam. We don't have anarchy and chaos and vigilantism, meaning that one person cannot get up and say, okay, I'm the defender of Islam and I'm going to start forcing everybody. No, you can't do that. You have to follow the law of the land that you live in. We are law-abiding people. If you don't like the law of the land you're living in, then there are democratic ways to work to change it and make it better. Or you leave. But this idea that you can create a revolution, this is completely rejected in Islam. This is what I was taught by all my teachers. We don't believe in these revolutions that overthrow governments. We believe in that we work with the government as best as we can. Because chaos and killing and creating all these problems, like what you've seen in the news these days, and every so often we hear in the news, some crazy guy decides to go around and do something. All of that is completely prohibited and rejected in Islam. So the government has the right to have an army to protect the Muslims and the religion from internal threats as well as external threats. And similarly, to protect religion in a Muslim country, such as Malaysia or Pakistan, in a Muslim country or Muslim majority country, a person cannot go on the streets and start insulting, saying bad things about the Quran or Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. These things are sacred objects to us. You can't disrespect them. You cannot abuse freedom of speech to openly start angering and disrespecting and insulting anything that is sacred in our religion. Every society has sacred cows. What's a sacred cow? A sacred cow is something that nobody is allowed to criticize. Every society has that. So we have to respect that. If you're living in a Muslim country, you cannot openly and publicly start going around and start promoting atheism and start criticizing religion and say, oh, I'm doing this in the name of freedom of speech. Nonsense. This is not freedom of speech. If you want to engage and discuss and debate with Islamic scholars, welcome. Abu Hanifa, the great Islamic scholar 1200 years ago, he would debate atheists. But to go around and creating trouble and playing with the minds of young Muslims who are not educated properly and start giving them all these weird ideas that, we should do this and Islam is old religion, we have to change it. That's creating trouble. That's propaganda. So that's protecting Islam. There are a lot of rules in Islam that are there to protect Islam. But is Islam the only religion that is protected in Islam? No. Other religions are also protected in the sense that you cannot insult other people's gods. So maybe you have Hindus in Malaysia and we have Hindus in Pakistan. You cannot insult Hindu gods. Who said so? Did I say that? No. Allah says so. It's right there in the Quran. Allah says in Surah Al-An'am 108, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولا تسبوا الذين يدعون من دون الله فيسبوا الله عدوا بغير علم. Do not insult those gods, in other words, they invoke other than Allah. Because if you do that, they'll insult Allah and you don't want that and they'll create problems. They'll create problems. So because we are living in a Muslim country doesn't mean you can insult anybody's religion. It is not personal. You can engage them, you can discuss them, you can have an academic, intellectual, respectful discussion. Like I engage with my Christian friends. I've been engaging with Christians for a long time, and I've learned a lot about Christianity through my engagement. One of my good friends in California, we graduated from high school together. He's a project engineer, he's a civil engineer now. And we both went to the same high school, same class, graduated the same year. He's a very strong Baptist. And I'm a very strong Muslim, and I'm convinced. And he's also convinced. But we've been debating and discussing our Facebook is full of discussions, even our text messages. I went to visit him. I took him out to a nice restaurant, a halal restaurant in Roseville, California, which is next to Sacramento. We had a nice, tandoori chicken and spicy food. He loved it. I paid for it. He's my guest. He's my friend. But I disagree with him. And we can still be friends. We can have intellectual disagreements. But insulting? No. That's haram. Why? I didn't say that. Allah said it. It's right in the Quran. So not just Islam. All people's gods, people's religions, people's sacred, even if we know they're wrong, we cannot. If you can't even insult, if you cannot even insult Hindu gods, does it make sense for you to go out and start randomly shooting and killing? No. That's insane. You can't even insult their gods. That means you can go and kill and burn churches and things like that. No. Where are you getting these ideas? There are some crazy people out there with black and white, one-dimensional minds who think that it's okay to commit violence. They're not reading the Quran. I don't know what religion they're following. And here's some more verses that tell us about religion. La lakum dinukum waliya din. For you, your religion. For me, mine. Lakum dinukum waliya din. You can follow your religion. I follow my religion. And this is in Surah Al-Kafirun, which many of you probably have memorized. Another one from Surah Al-Baqarah. La ikraha fi din. Qad tabayyana al-rushd min al-ghayb. There's no compulsion. Ikraha. You see the fatha here? What do you call it in Malaysian? Do you call this fatha? Fatha, okay. In Malaysian also? Because in Urdu we have a different word. So this word here, fatha. You see that fatha on the ha? You know what that means? I've spent 10 years studying Arabic linguistics. I've authored 6 books in Arabic linguistics, and I teach Arabic. I train Arabic teachers. And I'm telling you so that to inspire confidence. And my books have been published, QuranicLinguistics.com, and I'll give you the website name. This fatha is like la ilaha illallah, that ending after ilaha. This fatha means what they call genus. This is a la an-nafiyatul lil-jins, which means genus negating la, meaning that no, none, any type, none whatsoever. This is a special type of la. There are 9 types of la in the Arabic language. 9. This is one particular la. How do I know? It's because of this fatha. It's saying absolutely no room for any type of compulsion, forcing, coercing, threatening people to accept Islam or any religion. La ikraha fi din. No ikraha, no ikrah, coercing, forcing people to follow religion. قد تبين الرشد من الغي. قد, surely, definitely, verily. How you can't translate some of this stuff in English. Arabic is a powerful language. تبين الرشد من الغي. Clarified al-rushd, which is guidance from the misguidance. It's clarified. It's clear. Don't force people. Let them choose. And here's a verse that's also very important for when you're having a discussion with your non-Muslim friends. Anybody here who's not a Muslim, just so I know, I can give you more information, and it's okay. All Muslims and non-Muslims are welcome here, and I love to talk to non-Muslims. This is an important verse for you guys to remember in Surah Al-Kahf. قل say الحق من ربكم فمن شاء فليؤمن ومن شاء فليكفر. Say al-haq, which I think you probably know. I know there's a lot of Arabic words in Malay, right? Yeah. Al-haq probably is one of those words, right? The truth is from your Lord. فَمَنْ شَاءَ, whoever wants, let him believe. وَمَنْ شَاءَ, look what it says. فَمَنْ شَاءَ, whoever wants, فَلْيُؤْمِنْ, let him have iman. وَمَنْ شَاءَ, and whoever wants, فَلْيَكْفُرْ, let him commit kufr, let him be a kafir. This is Quran, this is not my speech in Surah Al-Kahf. Whoever wants, let him believe. Whoever wants, let him be a kafir. This is 1400 years ago. This is not some new declaration that human rights groups that just came up with. We're comfortable. We know Al-Haqqu min Rabbikum. We know the truth is from your Lord. We are relaxed. We're not worried. You want to believe? Believe. You don't want to believe? Don't believe. You will go to hellfire in the day of judgment. You will answer to Allah. It's not my job to force you, but I would love to convince you and love to have a debate with you. We can go to a restaurant, eat biryani together and nice Malaysian food together and have a discussion all night long. But at the end of the day, no compulsion. So to conclude, religion of all citizens, everybody living in the Muslim country under Islamic law, religion is protected, no force. No one can denigrate anyone's religion or God's people of all faiths, not just Muslims. Synagogues protected, churches, crosses are protected. Throughout the Muslim world, there are churches standing in every Muslim country except for one Muslim country, which is Saudi Arabia, and that's because it's the heartland of Islam. In the Hijaz area, Makkah, Medina, and Ta'if, this area, only one religion is allowed, which is Islam. Everywhere else, you can have churches and synagogues and temples. Now, what about the rights of non-Muslims? Since we're talking about this, it's important for us to know this because we are interacting with non-Muslims all the time. We're being attacked in the media. They're lying about us. They're lying about us. They're lying about us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're spending millions of dollars trying to make us look bad. We have to know what's our religion is. We have to know the Quran. Because you could be asked any day, why are you wearing a hijab? Why are you doing this? Why are you praying 5 times a day? You should know the reasons. So look at how Islam treats other people. This is historically and theoretically true. That the Christians living in Muslim countries can have their own courts and own judges where they apply their own biblical law on their own citizens in an Islamic country. Parallel legal systems. You have Islamic law in the Muslim country, but the Christians don't have to follow Islamic law. They don't have to pray and go to Hajj and do Zakat and all of that. They can have their own neighborhoods. I was in Damascus, and one of I used to go to help people with their exams, TOEFL and SAT exams, and I would get calls from different students. And a Christian family called me, and I went and I taught them for many years, and we developed great friendship. And I went to their house, and their house was located next to a very big church, a historic church in the main area in Damascus. And all the houses around the church were owned by Christians. That's because in the old days, centuries ago, the Muslim ruler gave the Christians property around the church so that they can live around the church and protect it and have freedom of worship. So the Christians traditionally, historically, have practiced their own religion, have their own Christian judges in their own Christian courts in a Muslim country. The same with Jews. They're exempt from following Sharia. And the Jewish law, and I'll talk about that, it's called halakha. It's very similar to Muslim law in many ways. Of course, there are differences. And historically, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ signed agreements with the Jews when he went to Medina. He left them alone. You want to practice your religion? Practice your religion. No forcing. Religion is protected, not just Islam, but other religions also protected. So that was number one. Protection of religion is high priority in Islamic law or fiqh or Sharia. Number two is nafs, protection of human life. This should not come as a surprise to any of you, but there's a lot of people out there, not Muslims, and all they do is watch Fox News. You know, Fox News, Shaitan News. Fox News is not even news, it's propaganda. They want you to hate, they want everybody to hate us. But if you're approached, I was talking to a Christian the other day off the streets here in Nashville, and he thought that Muslims believe that every Christian is a criminal that has to be killed or punished. Where did you get that idea from? Where did you get that idea from? The Prophet Muhammad said, whoever harmed a dhimmi. What is a dhimmi? Dhimmi is a non-Muslim, like a Jew or a Christian living in the Muslim state. Whoever harms him, I will be his adversary on the day of judgment. And I told him this hadith. For some reason, he couldn't believe it. Because he's brainwashed by Fox News. Here's a verse for us to remember. Whoever kills man qatala mu'minan muta'ammidan fajaza'uhu jahannam khalidan fiha wa ghadiba Allahu alayhi wa la'anahu wa a'adda lahu 'adhaban 'azima. Whoever killed a believer intentionally, deliberately, not by mistake. We'll talk about the mistakes. Then what's his recompense? What's his punishment? What's his reward? He gets hellfire forever. And Allah's anger is on him, and curse, la'na, is on him. And Allah has prepared for him a very torturous punishment. Now there's room for forgiveness also, but this is the punishment for a person who has not been forgiven. Very serious. Anger, curse, hellfire forever, punishment severe. I mean, it doesn't get any more scarier than this. But what about non-Muslims? That verse was for a believer, right? What about non-believer, a Christian or a Jew, for example? That life is also protected, and you can see it in Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 32. Man qatala nafsan. For those of you who know Arabic, it says here nafsan, which you see that double fatha ending. That means it's nakira, indefinite. It means any soul. Nafs is soul, life. Man qatala nafsan, any life. And it doesn't have an adjective. It doesn't say man qatala nafsan muslimatan. It doesn't say whoever killed a Muslim nafas. Nafas is soul or life. It says nafsan, any, indefinite. Then what's his punishment? It's as if he killed the whole humanity. So the mad people, the crazy people who think they can go on killing, they're not following the Quran. They think they're brainwashed in themselves thinking that they are following the Quran, but most of them can't even read the Quran. It's right here. Now, what if you kill somebody accidentally, by mistake? You drive on the street, oops, you got into an accident, and somebody's dead. You didn't mean to kill. And what's the punishment? The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, and he mentioned this in the last sermon, he said, in those days, 1400 years ago, back in the day, whoever killed somebody accidentally had to pay to the family of the victim 100 camels. Now, a camel could be $500 to $1,000. You take the normal average price, it could be about $100,000, depending on. So that's the punishment for killing accidentally, mistakenly, not deliberately. Deliberate killing is only one punishment. Modern criminal justice system. If you look at modern criminal justice system, like let's say here in the United States, there are a lot of people that are killed by police here accidentally or deliberately every year. About, on average, 1,000 people are killed in the United States of America by the police. Now, the vast majority of police are good people, but there's maybe less than 1% of the police out there that have problems, policemen. And so killings are happening on the streets in the United States of America. A lot of the people who are killed are African Americans and minorities. Out of those 1,400 were justified. That leaves about 600 wrongful death lawsuits. And most of them never get any penny. An African American young man was killed by the police by mistake or deliberately, and nothing. What does the family get? Nothing. In Islamic law, that family has to get $100,000 or something that is worth value. And then you take that criminal, right? In modern criminal justice system, you take a person who committed crime. In Islamic law, the punishment is very severe, right? We have severe punishment, very, very severe punishment. There's hardly any jail. In Islamic law, I don't know that many rulings that have jail time. Here, what they do is that they put you in jail. Now, that person is in jail. All of the taxpayers, people who are paying taxes, you pay taxes? Yes, you pay taxes. Before you even came to the United States, you were paying taxes, because when you bought the plane ticket to come here from Malaysian Airlines, they charge you taxes, right? So everybody pays taxes in the United States of America, whether you like it or not. So all of our tax money is going to put that guy in jail. You know how much it costs to put one person in jail every year? $30,000. $30,000 a year to put this guy in jail. So first, he stole some money. Now he's in jail. Now all of us have to pay. So why are we getting punished? Why are the taxpayers getting punished? Why not hold the killer responsible, or the person who stole? And similarly, to protect life, you cannot do anything publicly that will endanger other people's lives. So you have to follow the traffic safety laws. You can't do anything that will create public safety issues. So that's life. Any questions? So number one was ad-deen. Number two, an-nafs or life. Life. I'm used to saying life. Any questions about nafs and life and deen and nafs before I move on to number three, which is property? To protect property, there are severe punishments. Now, a lot of these things, many legal systems, not just Islam, protect. Many legal systems protect these. Okay, so Islam is not unique, but Islam has used severe punishments that may not be in other religions or legal systems. So the verse says, "As-sariqu was-sariqatu faqta'u aydiyahum jaza'an bima kasaba nakalan min Allah wallahu azizun." The person who steals, male or female, a sariq is male thief, a sariqa is female thief, cut their hands. Very severe. A person who steals, you know this is from the Quran, the punishment is to cut their hands off. Now, in this century, oh, this is cruel and unusual punishment. I don't care what they say. This is what my Quran says. And I believe this is the best. Even if I don't like, even if I think this is too much. Cutting somebody's hand? Yes. They say, oh, this is, the human rights groups will say, oh, this is backward. This is cruel and unusual punishment. I don't care about what you think. You're a human being. This is from God. It's better. Very severe punishment in Sharia. Of course, I cannot implement this. I can't go to Pakistan and say, I'm going to cut people's hands off. No. You gotta go to Malaysia and start doing that. No. It's not for us. Who can do this? The government only. And if they don't do it, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't create a revolution and start creating, revolutions and start, creating trouble. You have to work with the government. The Malaysian government is not perfect, but it's one of the better Muslim countries and better Muslim governments out there. I have a lot of respect for Malaysian government, and I'm sure you can tell me all kinds of things about them, but work with them. It's not bad. Come to Pakistan, our government, oh my God. You don't want to live like that. I would love to live in Malaysia. I love Pakistan, but my government is messed up. If you think your government is bad, come to Pakistan. It's worse. Similarly, to protect property or wealth, gambling is prohibited in Islamic law. Gambling, of course, is things like lottery, and there are different terms for it in Arabic. And the Quran says that يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ قُلْ فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ وَإِثْمُهَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفْعِهِمَا. It says that they are asking you, the Prophet ﷺ, about al-khamr. Al-khamr is, of course, alcohol or wine. Wal-maisir. Maisir is gambling. Qul, says them, فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ. In the gambling and alcohol, there's a great sin, big problems, big mistakes. وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ. And there's some benefit. Yeah, when you gamble, one person becomes a millionaire. When you play lottery, the Tennessee Lotto or whatever it's called, one person will win and become a millionaire, but the majority loses. So there is some benefit, yeah. The Quran recognizes there is some benefit, but ismuhuma akbar. Its ithm, its fault, its error, its harm, its sin is greater. Hence, we have the Quranic principle. If something has more harm and less benefit, you don't do it. Common sense. You know, advantages and disadvantages, right? So just because somebody says, oh, I drink wine every day, nothing happens to me. Okay, it works for you, but 88,000 people in the United States are killed. They're dying. 88,000 people die every year in the United States because of what? Alcohol. 88,000 people every year in America are dying because of alcohol. And this is according to, not me, according to the US government. It's online. 88,000 people. Worse than any terrorist attack ever. More than 7,000 people every month. 88,000 people are dying every year, and Fox News doesn't care about alcohol. Oh, look at those crazy Muslims, they're out to get us. You know that they're lying. You know, it's so obvious, but people still unfortunately fall for that nonsense. Similarly, there are many other rules which are universal, and they are no-brainer rules. Everybody knows them. No cheating, no swindling, no market manipulation, no hoarding, no monopolizing, no riba, and don't waste your property. Don't waste. La tubadhir tabdhira. Don't waste. Don't spend money wastefully. Right now you're a student, so you don't have that much money, so you don't have to worry about wasting. But when you get rich, remember this. And make dua for me when you get rich. So what about what about haram property of Jews and Christians? Now this is mind-blowing stuff, which even many Muslims don't know. 1,000 years ago, there was a big scholar in what is now called Uzbekistan, and his name is Al-Imam As-Sarakhsi, big Hanafi scholar. I understand Malaysians tend to be Shafi, is that correct? And you recognize Hanafi madhab, right? It's also, and I pretty much follow the Hanafi madhab, except that when I'm traveling, I follow the Shafi, it's easier. It's my secret, don't tell anybody. So this Hanafi scholar, 1,000 years ago, he said, "Al-khamru wal-khinziru malun mutaqawwamun fi haqqihim kal-khalli wal-ghanami fi haqqi al-muslimin." That, okay, to help you understand this, let me make up a story. Let's say I go to my friend's house and he's a Muslim, and I open the fridge and I find, oops, what's in there? I find something haram like alcohol, and I take that alcohol and he's not looking, I'll dump it in the toilet, right? No problem. No problem, because I don't want him to drink, because it's a big evil. Alcohol is the mother of evils, right? But now let's say I go to my friend's house, my friend Michael, he's a Christian, and I go to his house, and I find alcohol in his house. Can I take the alcohol and dump it in the toilet? No, because it's halal in his religion, but not in my religion. So it does not give me right. And this is powerful stuff. Human rights organizations, if they were to look at it, it's mind-blowing stuff. That what we consider haram, and it's the same with khinzir, which is pork and pig, any pig-based products. They're protected property in a Muslim country. This is what the scholar was saying, and all Hanafi textbooks are saying. And I'm sure Shafi scholars would also probably say that. Alcohol is illegal. I cannot own it. So if I'm If somebody finds it, they can dump it. I have no problem. But if I dump my friend's alcohol, I have to pay him because it's illegal. So protection of property, not just for Muslims, but even non-Muslims. The property that I find the worst property ever, alcohol. Worst thing ever. I can't even look at alcohol. It's so, just the thought of it, right? And yet, still, if it's owned by a Christian, can't touch it. In a Muslim country, I'm talking about, right? So this is our great religion, very forgiving religion, very accepting religion. Look at the religious freedom Jews and Christians enjoy. So that was number 3. Number 4 is nasab, which is lineage, and therefore we have marriage. Marriage is there to protect lineage. Thousands of children are born in America, unfortunately, every year, and they don't know who the father is. All of you are lucky. You don't know what his life is like. A child who doesn't know who his father is, and he's growing up, there will be anger inside his heart or her heart. That's a big disservice. So protecting lineage, zina, or any illegal or illicit sex is absolutely prohibited. And then we have dress code, and then we have separation, and we have rules. And this verse right here in Surah Al-Isra says, "La taqrabu az-zina." Do not go near az-zina. So forget about zina. Don't even go near it. So look at the wording of the verse. Don't even go near. Taqrabu means to go near. La taqrabu means do not go near. Nip it in the bud. Anything that leads to zina, cut it out. May Allah protect us from zina. Now, some human rights organizations, liberals and seculars and women's rights organizations and feminists, people who don't care about religion, they actually hate religion in many cases, they will say, what's your problem? Mr. Muslim, what's your problem? If two people want to do something in the bedroom, what's your problem? Mind your own business. Right? That's what they tell us. So they say, people who don't care about religion, they don't want religion, they say, mind your business, Mr. Muslim. It's none of your business what a man and a woman can do in the bedroom. What's your problem? They're not harming you, they let them do whatever they want to. And Amnesty International, which is supposed to be a great organization, is supposed to protect our rights. In July 2015, not long ago, guess what they said? Prostitution is a human right. So we have a right now that we didn't know about, then all of a sudden we discovered this right, and it's to prostitute ourselves. Wow. So what's my problem? If two consenting adults, consenting meaning they agree, what's your problem? Nobody's forcing that woman, nobody's forcing that man. Let them do whatever they want to. Mind your own business. You don't want to do it, don't do it. Leave the people alone. I'll tell you what the problem is. Here's the problem, and take it from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is a hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it says, you can read the translation, and I'll read it in Arabic. لم تظهر الفاحشة في قوم قط حتى يعلنوا بها إلا فشى فيهم الطاعون or فيهم الطاعون والأوجاع التي لم تكن مضت في أسلافهم الذين مضوا. Powerful wording. If I talk about the linguistics of this hadith, we'll be here all night long. sexual immorality or al-fahisha, every time it spreads among the people, except that, you know, when they start doing it openly, what will happen to them? Al-ta'un, which is plagues, and al-awja', which means pains or diseases, will come down upon them. These diseases, their forefathers did not know about them. What happened in the sexual revolution of 1960s and 1970s in the United States of America? You guys are from Malaysia, so you may not have heard about it. There was a sexual revolution here in the United States in 60s and 70s, mostly in 70s. It became very public. People were doing all kinds of stupid and bad things openly. And guess what? AIDS became publicly known in early 1980s. AIDS. And there are over 20 different types of sexually transmitted infections or diseases that their forefathers did not know about. What's your business, Mr. Muslim? Here's my business. Children are being born to mothers or fathers with AIDS and diseases. That's my business. That's my problem. That's our problem. It's a public health risk. You want to know what somebody's problem is? Two people come together. It's not a small thing. University of Maryland, and I've already mentioned this, 13 million Americans are infected with STIs, sexually transmitted diseases, every year. Alhamdulillah, a lot of these are curable, but AIDS is a big problem. 636,000 dead Americans. That's more than the Civil War. You know, 150 years ago, there was a civil war in the United States of America, and America became two countries. Here, people of the South, which is where we are right now, they wanted to keep slavery, so they've rebelled against the North. It's more people than the Civil War, and World Health Organization says 1.5 million people die every year in the world. That is our problem. So next time somebody says, what's your problem, Mr. Muslim? Somebody wants to come together, a woman wants to come together with a man in a room. What's your problem? Mind your business? That's my problem right here. That's all of our problem. That's a world problem. So don't tell me two people coming together is no big deal. It's a public safety hazard. And with this in mind, there's a very severe punishment in the Quran against a zina, which is illicit sex. In the Quran verse right here, it says, الزانية والزاني فاجلدوا كل واحد منهما مئة جلدة. The female fornicator and the male fornicator, الزانية والزاني, both the female and the male are mentioned, flog them, lash them 100 times. Ooh, cruel and unusual. Yes, it is cruel. Yes, it is unusual. But so is all these madness that is being created by the health risks. Punishment is cruel and unusual. Yes, of course it's cruel and unusual. Punishment is not supposed to be nice and easy. They criticize our great religion for this, but they ignore this, the statistics. Number 5, al-aql, the intellect. Is this a word in Malaysian language also? You use al-aql? Alright, we also use it in Urdu. Great. The scholars of Islam, scholars of Aqidah and scholars of, fiqh and Sharia and fiqh, they define aql in different ways. One of the definitions that was really powerful, and I studied with my teacher when I was in Syria, Hafidahullah, al-aqlu alatul idrak. The intellect is a tool, ala al-idrak, tool for comprehension. It's a tool I use, Allah gave me, it's the best gift Allah gave me that I use to comprehend, idrak, to understand the universe around me, to study physics, to study chemistry, to study engineering, to study natural sciences, to study physical sciences. Everything you're doing, that's why you came here, to exercise this tool right here. And so to protect that tool, the best tool, no alcohol, because when you drink, this goes. And here a person says, you know what, alcohol, my grandfather used to have a little cup of wine every day and at dinner, nothing happened to him. Okay, just because one person is okay with it doesn't mean everybody else is going to be okay with it. Some people get drunk with just a few. Some people don't get drunk with a lot. What do we do? There's only one law and no alcohol, and that's the only law that makes sense. 88,000 people, according to National Institute of Health on the United States government, says, it's on the website, 88,000 people dying every year, as I mentioned before. And not only that, alcohol also causes, according to American Cancer Association, and this is also online, they have mentioned that alcohol creates risk factors that cause 7 types of cancers. 7 types of cancers because of alcohol. And not to mention mental diseases and addictions that you can ask a psychology expert. I'm not an expert in psychology, so I quote people who are experts. The greatest authority, one of the greatest authority in the world for cancer is American Cancer Association. Or sorry, it's called American Cancer Society, ACS it should be. American Cancer Society says 7 types of cancer. And you can ask any psychology expert. And the hadith says, La darara wa la dirar. There's no harming and no reciprocating harm. Stop harming people. And what could be a greater harm than 88,000 people dying every year in car accidents as well as in cancers, and people where the father was drunk and he killed somebody because he was drunk, and now the family is destroyed. The children are growing up lost, without parents. And the last one is reputation or honor is ilm. To protect people's honors, backbiting and slandering is absolutely prohibited. You cannot say bad things behind people's backs when you get together with your friends. Oh, you know what Muhammad did today? Oh man, let me tell you what he did. Really? He did that? Tell me more. Stay away from people who talk bad things about people behind their backs. Those are very bad habits, toxic people. And similarly, false accusations against women. You cannot say, oh, I saw Fatima do so and so things with a man. If you say that, and you're living in a time where, or living in a country where the Islamic law is implemented, then the police, or the complaint can be filed with the police, and you can be punished. The judge can punish you with 80 lashes. In Surah An-Nur, verse 4, 80 lashes. فَاجْلِدُوهُمْ ثَمَانِينَ جَلْدًا. Why? Because you said something bad about a woman, a Muslim woman, and you don't have 4 witnesses to prove it. 4. One man brought 3 witnesses during the time of, I think it was one of the Khulafa al-Rashidin. He brought 3 witnesses. Guess what happened? He got 80 lashes. He had 3 witnesses, not enough, 4. Because he accused a man and a woman of doing something, he brought in 3 witnesses. Because walking by and the wind blew open the window, and when he looked inside the window, he saw a man and a woman together. 80 lashes he was given. No joking around with the honor of people, especially Muslim women. Al-Muhsanat, this verse about Muslim women. Protecting the honor of Muslim women is a high priority in Sharia. Fox News will be out of business because that's their job, is to demean and destroy people's honors and reputations. No tabloids. You know, sometimes you go to Kroger and grocery stores, and you're buying, when you do the cashier, there's these stupidest magazines sitting on the shelf, and they have these outrageous news. Obama was doing this, and I don't know, this happened and that happened. It's all lies. It's funny, but we should be crying. There's the worst type of disparaging and attacks. Now, there are people out there who criticize Sharia. Oh, you believe in Sharia? Yes, of course I believe in Sharia. What do you mean? I'm a Muslim. oh, what Sharia is this and that. Do you even know what you're talking about? One person wanted to criticize Sharia. I said, do you even know what Sharia is? There's a professor, Christian Catholic professor in the Catholic University. His name is Marshall Breger, and he wrote an article. He said the article says why Jews cannot criticize Sharia law. If you're a Jew, you got nothing against Sharia because your Jewish law or halacha is very close to Sharia law. So if you're criticizing Sharia, you're criticizing your own law. And similarly, Christians have no reason to criticize Sharia because if you go to the Bible, and this is from the Bible, the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 17 says, Jesus said, alayhi salam, do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. So Jesus is telling his followers, I did not come to cancel or abolish the law. What law is he talking about? The Jewish law, the law of the Old Testament, or Torah, or Torah, as we say. So if Christians are criticizing Sharia, they're really criticizing the Bible. They've got nothing on us. And according to Martin Luther, there were 500 years ago, most of the Christians that follow the Protestant branch of Christianity, such as Baptists, Protestants, Methodists, Lutherans, and there's just so many I can't even keep track of all of them. They started with a German monk who rebelled against the Christian Catholic Church. His name is Martin Luther, and I watched an entire documentary on him. And he wrote some horrible things against Jews. He said Jews should be stopped from preaching, and we should destroy. This is a Christian visionary, Martin Luther, and he's praised. The Protestant Christians, they love him. He said that we should destroy synagogues and Jewish homes. And John Calvin, which is another great Christian reformer, out of whom many Protestant branches of Christianity come, he said, in 16th century, he was a French guy, and Martin Luther was a German guy, and he said we should oppress Jews. So the hating Jews is not an Islamic value. We have no problem with Jews. Jews have lived among us, in our Muslim lands, and they work with us. Hating Jews comes from the writings of Martin Luther and John Calvin, and Hitler was impacted by their writings, and 6 million Jews were slaughtered in Germany. What was the religion? You know, the Fox News will also make it look like, oh, the Muslims want to kill Jews, they want to kill Christians. That's not true. The opposite is true. According to Jewish British historian Bernard Lewis, in his book called The Jews of Islam, he said it's better for a Jew to live in a Muslim country than in a Christian country ruled by Christian law. Because the Muslims protect Jewish law, Jewish rights. And I've already talked about that. So in conclusion, my dear brothers and sisters, our wonderful, great, amazing Sharia protects 6 things. We should be proud of our Sharia. We should raise our heads high and walk humbly and invite others and show people how beautiful our religion is. We protect religion, and we protect life, and we protect property, and for everybody, not just for Muslims. We protect lineage, and we protect the intellect, and of course we protect reputation. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursaleen, Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. I'll take any questions if anybody has any questions or any comments, inshallah. Sure, please, go ahead.
I have a question on when you were mentioning about the severity of punishments for thievery, for example.
Of stealing?
Yeah, stealing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, is there like we know that all of us know that the punishment would be to cut off one's hand, right? But is there like a threshold?
Yes, there is a threshold. It cannot be stealing $1 or $2 or something like that. It has to be something a significant amount. And that significant amount is determined by the fuqaha, the legal experts. And also, if a person is hungry and they steal food, no punishment. If a person is feeling cold out, there's a homeless person out there and he goes to Walmart and steals clothes to protect himself, no punishment. Anytime you need somebody, I should have mentioned this, thank you for bringing this up. I'm going to add this to my notes. It's important to mention this, that if a person steals something they need to survive, and food and drink and clothes. There's no punishment. That's the government's fault. Why is somebody hungry? Why is somebody without clothes? It's the people's fault. The community's fault. Somebody has to pay zakat. So no punishment. And also, and don't do this if you're a woman, if a wife steals from a husband, there's no punishment. Because they are partners. If you have a business partner, and the partner steals from you, there's no punishment. Whenever money is shared or there's a close collaboration between two people, you can't punish people. The only time it's punished if a person, he's not stealing to save his life, he's not stealing clothes, he's not stealing food, he's stealing something he didn't need. Now he deserves. And again, there has to be witnesses, there has to be all kinds of things. And a lot of times people forgave. Very good question, Jazakallah khairan. Did I answer your question completely? Okay.
This is going to be a sensitive question for this young people. Can you explain more about the wala taqrabu zina?
What are the?
Wala taqrabu zina. The phrases can you explain?
Don't get close to zina.
Yeah, does dating, having boyfriend or girlfriend, is that count in that category?
What do you think?
I can't.
This guy's smart. I like it. Well, look, anything that gets you close. If you want to marry a woman and you like a woman you want to marry, then seeking marriage by all means. You have to look at her. You can talk to her father or family, and you can talk to her. You can spend enough time with her not alone. In the presence of a third person to get to know her, to get married. Yeah, but just dating, having boyfriend, girlfriend, that's getting close to zina. So I don't consider that as good. I don't think it's acceptable.
I have a question with that. For what certain requirements, because we are dealing with boys and girls, women and men every day. So, to what certain limit
It's really about taqwa and making sure that why are you doing it? I'm at work and I have to interact with women. I just do it in a business way, right? I don't get too close, and if you need to do business with a man or a woman, then it's okay. Do the business, observe the limits, and do your best to avoid getting yourself out of those situations to the best of your ability. And I know it can be tough, especially if you're in a specific environment. It can be very difficult. It's not easy. It's not easy. You just have to do your best. And as long as if you need to interact with a man or woman, there has to be a very good reason for it. If you're working, or if you are a student and your professor, you need to interact. Of course, you have to interact. And if there's a TA, if somebody else needs help, you interact. But the rule is, you cannot be alone, right? You can't be alone. Two people cannot be alone. There was a Christian, a famous Christian leader, pastor, and I forget his name, but it could be Billy Graham. And he was asked in an interview. A lot of Christian leaders have gotten in trouble with the woman. They've got problems with the woman. In other words, they did something they weren't supposed to. Like Jimmy Swaggart, he got in trouble with a woman. And many Christian leaders have done things. They were Christian leaders, but then they were caught with a woman. So they were exposed. So they asked him, you have never been caught doing anything bad with a woman. What's your secret? You've not fallen by the wayside. Many Christian leaders have fallen by the wayside. What's your secret? And he said, he's a Christian leader, and he said something very profound, very good. He said, I promise to God that I'll never be alone with a woman. So as soon as you are alone with a woman, you're not alone anymore. The third person is Mr. Satan. Mr. Shaitan. He's there and he's like, yes, this is the best thing to be. I love it when this guy comes along with a woman. Now I control him. This is what Shaitan wants. Shaitan wants you to get close to somebody you're not supposed to. It's a trap. You'll be like, oh, it's okay. I'm an adult and she's an adult too. It's okay. But slowly, over a period of days, weeks, things start to, it's a slippery slope. Any other questions? I'll take the sister's question and then I'll come to you.
It does not mention that Israelis do the government alone. So what if we rebel or protest because the government create a law that abuses people like the Israelis? So it might use the
Yeah. The advice that we have from Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is that during the end of time, you keep obeying and keep working, you keep following the government, don't go against, don't create revolution, do it peacefully. Go talk to the ministers, set up a democratic party, get votes, talk, discuss, encourage, with all due respect, work with the government as much as you can. But if you try everything and it's still not working, by the way, it takes a long time to get the government to change. It's like, think of the government as like a big ship, a huge ship. A ship cannot just make a right or left like that. It takes a while for it to turn. It takes a while for it to slow down. So change for the better, yes, by all means. Use the democratic process. And if you're living in a dictatorship, just make dua. Be patient, don't go again. This is advice that I was given. This is advice that was given by an early generation of Muslim scholars. They saw a lot of fitna, a lot of problems. A lot of blood was spilled because people said that, you know what, this government is not doing the job, I'm going to go against them, I'm going to fight them. And what happened? A lot of blood was spilled and then the government was overthrown. The next government that came was worse than the previous one. So people say, I wish we were back to the old government. So you just have to be patient. You know, this idea of revolution is just problematic. And most of the revolutions fail. Look at all, I saw a revolution of Syria with my own eyes. I saw Syrian government cracking down people, grinding people, throwing people in jail, killing people. Some of my friends are dead in Syria. My wife's relatives, when she calls home, I can't even hear the news anymore. All these revolutions, what did it get them? It's much worse now in Syria than it was before. People wish that we would go back to what we were before. When the revolution broke out, I was like, yeah, that's good. So people are like, I finally sick and tired of this stupid, crazy government of Bashar al-Assad. And I hated that government. But now I'm like, oh my gosh, it's worse. And there was a top Syrian Islamic scholar, Dr. Sheikh al-Bouti, Saeed Ramadan al-Bouti, who is my teacher, I studied with him Aqidah. He went against all this revolution. He said, we don't want revolution. He kept saying, no, we don't want it. Everybody started saying, this scholar is not a good scholar because he is pro-government. Eventually, he was also killed. And now, 4 years later, people are saying, you know what? Sheikh Saeed Ramadan Bouti was right. We should not have. Egypt, what happened in revolution? Back to worse now, worse than what it was in Mubarak. What happens in Yemen? What happens in most of the revolutions fail, they don't work. You want to change, start with your heart. Start with yourself. Change yourself. If you can't get up for Fajr, don't talk to me about revolutions. Seriously, if you can't get up for Fajr prayer, I don't want to hear your stupid revolution nonsense. Start with your own, do the jihad against your own evil inclinations. Then with your family, then your children, then your kindred, your neighbors. We start with ourselves. And Allah will help us. A famous Aqidah textbook called Jawharat al-Tawheed. I don't know if anybody has heard of this textbook. You heard of it? MashaAllah. I studied that textbook and he said, you know, Wallahu yakfina adahu wahdahu. Allah is enough for us to protect us from the adha, the harm of the corrupt power, leadership. we're living in a time of great turmoil and turbulence and problems. And one of the last few good Muslim countries, stable Muslim countries, is Malaysia. And I'm sure there are problems there, and I'm sure it's not paradise. But trust me, it's much. Just live in outside in a Muslim country like Pakistan or Syria, and you'll be like, oh my God, I want to go back to Malaysia. It's much better there, you know. It's work on yourself, work on your neighbors, and work with set up a democratic process to do that. And Malaysia has democracy, right? So there is something you can do.
Why is the universal law organized in that order?
Against?
Why is the universal law organized in that order?
Oh, okay, that's a good question. This is the order that the scholars used, and so I'm using the same order, but they're all important. They're all equally important. It's not like one is more important than the other, but religion is the most important thing, so they put it first, then human life. So this is from Jawhar al-Tawheed. For you said you know Jawhar al-Tawheed. This is poetry from Jawhar al-Tawheed, and this line is my whole talk today. This one line of Jawhar al-Tawheed is my whole talk today. Any other questions? Yes.
You talk about switching to different mazhab. Can you explain like how does it work? Like how can you see this?
It's best for you to follow the madhab that you have studied and the madhab that your community, your people, your family, everybody in the country is following. It's always good to follow that madhab so that you don't do things that other people will look at you as like, what are you doing? This looks strange. For example, if you're following the Maliki madhab, and I studied Maliki madhab, the Maliki madhab, when you pray, you say Allah Akbar, you put your hands down like this. You don't do this. And if I do this in Pakistan, they'll think I'm Shia. Right? The Shias in Pakistan do this, right? But in West Africa and Maliki madhab, it's perfectly okay to do this. So when I was a Maliki, I was really excited. Yeah, I want to be Maliki, and everything's Maliki, Maliki, Maliki. And my teacher was Maliki. So way back in California, there was a Maliki scholar came, and I started praying like this. But then I realized, and I was taught by my teacher, is that don't create problems. If you go to a masjid, everybody's praying like this. Don't pray like this just to be different, you know? Because they'll think, oh, what is this guy doing? You know? So, to answer your question, generally, if you're Malaysian, you pretty much are stuck with Shafi madhab. But doesn't mean you can't follow other madhab. You have to study the other madhab. And if you're convinced intellectually that that madhab is right, and follow it, you don't have to make any declaration, you have to make any announcements. You don't have to say anything. Today, 5 o'clock, I'm going to be a Hanafi. So you can follow any one of those madhabs, but one thing you cannot do mix and match. When you go to McDonald's, you can do mix and match, right? You may make a salad out of madhab. No. If you're doing prayer, do one prayer completely in one madhab. Don't do one rak'ah in Shafi, the second rak'ah in Hanafi. That can't. One prayer or one group, one ibadah should be in one madhab. You can do your Hajj in Hanafi and you can do your zakat in Shafi, that's fine. But no mixing and matching, because that can create invalid. It's like solving an equation. How many ways are there to solve a quadratic equation? Many ways. You can use the quadratic formula, you can use the numerical analysis, you can use factorization, you can use whatever. But once I'm using a formula, once I start solving an equation halfway, then I say, oh no, I'm going to change the method. Stick to the method, completely follow one method. Okay, I'm going to try to say something in Malaysian, you guys will laugh. Salamat datang. Did I say it right? How do you say it? Salamat datang. Whatever that means. I know what that means. Alright, Jazakumullah khairan. I think it's time for Maghrib prayer. So it was very nice talking to you. And I have a lot of other different talks that I've prepared, I've researched a lot, that I would love to share with you. You guys, mashallah, are a very good group of people. I really enjoyed working with you. I love to work with college students. So I would love to come back again if you guys think you need to reply. Okay. And the website, oh yeah, let me give you my website. I want you to take a look at this website. It's very good for Quranic Arabic. For those of you who are interested in Quranic Arabic, why is it not coming up? Oh, yeah. Oh, there it is. So this is the website where you can see my entire curriculum. I spent 10 years writing 6 books in Quranic Arabic. These are powerful books, and many teachers, Arabic teachers, and institutes and throughout USA, Canada, North America, UK are using. So take a look at it. It's a complete Arabic curriculum. I'm very excited about it. And I teach it online at Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings at different levels out there. Okay, I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you so much, Stefan, for your eye-opening activity. For that, let's give a big round of applause for our presentation. So many things to reflect, so many things to look upon. Sometimes we just don't see the things that we have, so maybe we should be thankful as a really citizens ourselves. Again, all of us thank you again for this wonderful activity. We hope we can get to see more often and so this wonderful activity. I would like to, is there anything more?
So we're gonna there's like some light refreshments. So we're gonna eat a little bit first and then we can proceed to bring more food in annex.
So, further, I end this ceremony. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. One more dollar again.
Zakia, saya nak tutup ni. I duduk babai je dah jadi.
Hi. Ini.